And we're going to talk about this. Appreciate everybody for jumping in. Give me time. Give me time to set this up. As we set this up, Cowboys go Scorched Earth theory. Workable. Can we go that? Can we do that? And I'm going to explain. You guys, my answer on the front end is no. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Really appreciate you for jumping in. Thank those who follow the channel and support the channel. The name is Law Nation. Salute to the notification squad. Let's grind. Let's go. Be sure, hit that like, share this content. Let a friend or a neighbor know where to go when they want to tune in. Cowboy Sports Talk and beyond. The gridiron, baby. Shout out to you, JP, in the house. Salute to you, my friend. All right, appreciate y'all, man. Let's jump right to it. I try to rush right through the intro. I had a few people say, it's too long of an intro, but that's just how it goes when you're trying to build the plane while it's in the air. Unfortunately, that's how this system is, especially when you are live on multiple platforms. Thank those who watched this channel earlier this morning. Let's get right to it. Can the Cowboys go scorch earth, meaning that they burn everything down, hoping that the ashes is enough to plant a certain crop or seed so it can grow? Now, the irrational fans will say, no, let's do this. Let's cut Ezekiel Elliott. Let's cut Dak Prescott. Let's cut DeMarcus Lawrence. Let's cut Amari Cooper. And we roll out some things, and we will see. We'll see what can happen from here. Appreciate you, Jametta. Appreciate you for jumping in. Shout out to your nobles. Appreciate you for being part of the conversation here. Let me know if you guys can see me, hear me, and everything. Jametta says, I can't see you. Refresh your screen. Ain't nobody hating but the system, right? But neither here nor there. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio and see me. All right, so my notion is this right here, Cowboy Nation. Get your hand off the panic button. Remove it. However, I get it. And this is the problem. I know it's a copycat league, but expectations for the Dallas Cowboys will always be higher and held to a different standard. I get it. There will be many people saying Cowboys have not done this since 1995, 96, or what have you. So have the other teams. Even though the Cincinnati Bengals made it all the way to the Super Bowl, they're holding the biggest L right now. And it's been 31 years, and now they got it right on the chart. It's been 32 years. Well, they never won a championship, so it's still counting, right? So I understand that we would love to be given an opportunity to play in the biggest and the brightest of the stage, right? And when we look at what the LA Rams done, the ability to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, to ultimately win the Super Bowl, you got to understand that the political arena in LA is a whole different landscape for the Dallas Cowboys. Whole different landscape. Different set of rules, different set of boundaries. And when we look at the salary cap in this way it's structured, I recall, I believe back in, I think it was like 2000, and I want to say 12 or 13. Could have been 11. Cowboys got hit with the NFL for moving the salary cap money around, prorating stuff, putting money on the front end, and cutting off the tail on the back end for, I believe the guy was named Miles Austin. You see, our books are being looked at. Everybody else's book is an imaginary land. You can do whatever you want. You can reach out, spend resources to get players. But the Dallas Cowboys books, they looking at them books. And we can't cook the books like everyone else. Now, do Law Nation believe that their salary cap, my friend, my beautiful people that's watching? Do I believe that the salary cap is a real factual thing? No. No, it's not. It's foolish to try to stay within the confines of a $208 million cap. What's the penalty of going over? I recall there was multiple teams way over the cap running hot. And they allowed those boys to escape through, still pull trades or what have you. What's the penalty? You guys think that there's a cap hell? When the new deals kick in, it's equivalent. Yeah, using your credit card. Normally, you got to go through credit checks and everything else to get a credit card cap increase, right? But if you have a $22,000 or $25,000 credit limit and you're teetering right at 25 and you still got people on the book, right? You still got items that you have to purchase or what have you clear off on the book. And then the next season, literally, that $25,000 of your spending limit jumps to $50,000. That's equivalent of how much this thing jumps. You continue to spend. But what the Cowboys do is they stay narrowed and they stay close to the cap. Like it's a cap award. Like, yeah, baby. We stayed close to the cap. We got up under the cap. Whereas other teams said, come hell or high water, our organization, our franchise. We try to do whatever it takes to get back to the promised land. Whatever it takes. Now, cutting the legs from up under your feet is not a necessary situation, Cowboy Nation. But I would tell y'all, it is what it is at this point. And one of the things that I must bring up, shout out to my guys from 105.3 The Fan. They the one that started this one off. Can the Cowboys go scorched earth like the Rams just did? My answer is no.
And that's sometimes, I think, what bothers me and other people about, do you know the size of the check that I would write? All right, let's play the scenario out. And people could say it's ridiculous all you like. I'm telling you, this is not a false scenario. You want Eric Bieniemy? Go buy him right now. What's he going to cost? Who cares? You would write whatever check. Who cares? Mm-hmm. What's Kellen Moore making? $3 million? What does Eric Bieniemy want? Well, he wanted to be a head coach. He wants $8 million. No. I'm not saying any of this would happen, but just stick with me for a second. Oh, the New England Patriots. Well, they got Bill Belichick coaching. Great. We want Bill Belichick. Well, we want a first-round pick. Done. Well, he doesn't want to go there. Fine, I'll pay you $35 million a year. Like, that's an absurd version of this, but you hear what I'm saying, right? Whenever somebody says, I would pay as big of a check as it takes, great, do it.
Now, also, when people say that, that's tongue-in-cheek. It's tongue-in-cheek. If I was in you seen people say this all the time, man, shoot, he wouldn't do me like that. If I was in the ring with Mike Tyson, I'll punch him in his jaw, knock him out. Oh man, Floyd Mayweather. Hey man, he's only 140 pounds, man. Get me in the ring with him. I would DDT him. I would slap him so hard that he'll be, instead of 50-0, he'll think that he's 0-50. A lot of people do a lot of tongue-in-cheek. There's no salary cap as it relates to coaching. And on top of that, Jerry Jones said you can only imagine the size of the check that I would write to get to the Super Bowl. The problem is, it's not anything to do with money. When I was watching the game, the Super Bowl, I said it's amazing to see scheme. It's amazing to see a scheme and a system that works. News flash to the beautiful people that's watching. Scheme have nothing to do with talent. More so to do with your philosophy and how you execute your plan. Scheme have nothing to do with strength. Look, if you guys don't have to listen to me no more, you don't have to like me. But if you read the good book, he make the qualified, the unqualified qualified. It's all about the strategy and the mindset and the fortitude of your heart to get things together. See, so many people are only looking at the talent. There's more people talented than Michael Jordan during his time, but they never went into the right system. There's more people talented than a LeBron James, but they fell into the wrong system under the wrong coach. Moses said, hey, I'm short and stubby. I can't talk. I stutter when I speak. The good man above said, who made your mouth? That's like who's directing you, the scheme. It's a good book, Asmodeus. Yeah. Happy Valentine's to all of the beautiful people here, male and female. Happy Valentine's to y'all. I hope you guys had a good day, a wonderful day. But I want people to understand the talent level was already here. But who do you have that's developing the scheme? Shout out to you, Davidson. Appreciate you on the Facebook.
Go pay Bill Belichick $35 million a year. He's not going to take an extra $25 million or whatever it is per year to come to your team. The hell he's not. The New England Patriots wouldn't take all of these draft picks to get him. The hell they're not. These are extreme scenarios, and I don't believe any of them are going to happen. But my point is, you want to sell everything out. You can. And by the way, we are getting reports that it does look like Odell Beckham Jr. has a torn ACL, which I think...
Don't you think you saw it?
Yeah.
I think we all saw it when it happened. We were like, ACL.
And I was sitting with my wife, who actually has torn her ACL twice, once over time and then once like immediately in the moment. And she goes, I could see that. Mm-hmm. So I realize this is a more absurd version of it. But let's take it even further. For all the people who are complaining about Dak right now. Okay, great. What did I say in the last segment? Carson Wentz on the block. Call up Indianapolis. Just hear me out.
Okay.
You don't think Indianapolis will view Dak as an upgrade over Carson Wentz? Let's do it.
All right. Bobby Ward says, appreciate you, man. Law, I heard you saying some podcasts to use your strength, like Amari Cooper is one. This is one sound like you are promoting scheme over talent. You need both, right? No. There's two type of situations, and I want you guys to look this up. The definition of scheme versus system. It's a different philosophy, and it's a different approach. Scheme and system may seem similar, but they are two different situations. Kellen Moore got a system. He got a system over talent, meaning that in my particular system, there's no need to have a dominant X receiver. There's no need to have a dominant tight end. There's no need to have a dominant running back. Everyone is equal in my system. A scheme would be, I'm looking at Amari Cooper based upon or predicated upon cover 4, cover 2. I got in my scheme a situation with way I call plays to beat that regardless, to get them up out of their particular system. See, now that's when you go into scheme versus system. Case in point, last night when you watched the game, listen to the first half of the broadcast. The Cincinnati Bengals were playing cover 4, pretty much cover 2 shells, as well as, of course, we've been seeing this a lot, those quarters. There were only 2 things you can do. You could try to throw it into it, or you could try to take the underneath up out of it, or you could run it. Now, here's the situation. You got 6 DBs, you got more DBs out there on the field when you're running the ball, and their front 4 was getting home, shutting down the run. But he understood the philosophy that if I continue to run my game and not be, as this word, impatient and try to throw out of it, I eventually going to get the matchup that I wanted. So as soon as they took the extra DB off, they hit Odell Beckham with the double move down the field. That's calling my scheme beat your system or your philosophy of the way you was trying to play your particular defense. I believe in the hearts of hearts, if Odell Beckham, hear me out, didn't have that ACL tear, he would have had a remarkable game. But he had went down and he threw off a certain way of they had to approach. And they had to make the necessary adjustments, which they did. They made the necessary adjustments, and the necessary adjustments was to attack with Cooper Kupp.
Do it. Because then you can
Appreciate
flip
you,
all the
Jay
switches
Bruce.
you want. You can divert a lot of that DAC money. You can restructure Carson Wentz's contract, and you can take a same or a downgrade at quarterback, but then maybe you have a little bit more money to play with. Or perhaps then you have some draft capital that you can flip into players, which is what the Rams did over and over and over again. There are scorched earth possibilities out there if you want to follow them out. But I think the issue for a lot of people is, let's say you go scorched earth everywhere except the quarterback. There are people that we see time and time and time again that don't think your quarterback is good enough. All right, let's say you go scorched earth and you do trade out the quarterback. Then there are people I see on the truckwreck.com fan text 877-881-1053 time and time and time again don't think your coach is good enough. And that is the issue for some Cowboys fans when it comes to going all in.
Well, I mean, I think
Let me rewind. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Or perhaps then you have some draftless. Let's take it even further. For all the people who are complaining about Dak right now. Okay, great. What did I say in the last segment? Carson Wentz on the block. Call up Indianapolis. Just hear me out.
Okay.
You don't think Indianapolis will view Dak as an upgrade over Carson Wentz? Let's do it. Because then you can flip all the switches you want. You can divert a lot of that DAC money. You can restructure Carson Wentz's contract, and you can take a same or a downgrade at quarterback, but then maybe you have a little bit more money to play with. Or perhaps then you have some draft capital that you can flip into players, which is what the Rams did over and over and over again. There are
Who's buying that? Who would trade? And I know this is just a theory. Who would absolutely trade Dak Prescott for Carson Wentz for the money? For the love of money. I mean, who saw enough of Carson? Now, I know some people will say, well, they will look at Carson and they'll look at Dak Prescott and they say that these boys are more the same. I don't want that. I'm just telling y'all right now. Not me. Oh, no, not me. As they say on the streets, when you're playing those dominoes, not all money, good money. Not all money, good money.
scorched earth possibilities out there if you want to follow them out. But I think the issue for a lot of people is, let's say you go scorched earth everywhere except the quarterback. There are people that we see time and time and time again that don't think your quarterback is good enough. All right, let's say you go scorched earth and you do trade out the quarterback. Then there are people I see on the truckwreck.com fan text 877-881-1053 time and time and time again don't think your coach is good enough. And that is the issue for some Cowboys fans when it comes to going all in.
Well, I mean, I think maybe through the end of the third quarter, there were people that were starting to say, "Well, Sean McVay's not going to be good enough."
There you go.
Like, wasn't that discussed in the game when they were like, "Oh, it's the pressure starting to mount on him"?
And that's a great point, and it shows how perilous this discussion is. Because if they don't get that touchdown, do the Rams look like super geniuses today, or do they look stupid? Because, let's reflect on that for a second.
Today, geniuses.
They don't. But if you don't get that touchdown, you have no draft capital. Odell Beckham Jr. tore his ACL. You have a head coach who's now been to the Super Bowl twice, and his offense is the supposedly genius has sputtered both of the times. Because let's face it, for as much of an offensive genius as Sean McVay is, he's been to the Super Bowl twice and has scored a total of 26 points. You take that touchdown out, and it's a total of 19 points, and he's been to the Super Bowl twice and lost both times, and his offense couldn't do a damn thing. He doesn't look like a genius. The Rams don't look like a genius. That's how tenuous all of this is.
What was the score in the Super Bowl when he lost to, I think it was to Tom Brady, right? What was that score? Somebody help me out with that score. And Tom Brady, man, he's been there before multiple times, and shout out to Tom Brady. He just one of those guys. 13-3, William Burney. Yeah. And I think it was very. It couldn't be 3-20. 13-3. I think it was a very close game. It was one of those defensive games. Defense win championships, by the way. And 13-3. Yeah. 13-3. Man, I can't recall that game, but I do know that the offense did sputter. It was 3 points. Appreciate y'all, man. But the defense gave up 13 points, and I think it was off of a certain play. It's at the tip of my tongue. But neither here nor there. He's been there twice. Second time, you saw that he made the necessary adjustments, and they went and got the reinforcements on the defensive side of the coin. If you sneezing at the Rams defense, there's something wrong with you, right? I mean, the Rams all this year been top, not 5, not top 6, but top 1 or 2 respectfully in defense all this season. And when you think about it, I'm not trying to say that the Cowboys are far from there, and we're not that far from there. But when you look at this team, and I know that a lot of people don't like to use Pro Football Focus. But Pro Football Focus, yeah. Offense number 5. Number 5, the 5th total offense. Special teams, But what do you guys see right here? This been all season. Overall ranking 1/2 because the Cowboys overall was ranked at the 1 spot for a majority of the season as well. But instead of offense, they've been ranked in defense right here. And this is where the Rams been ranked at. Number 1, defense. Defense step up. Defense win championships. At the end of the day, I don't look at the LA Rams defense a million miles from the Cowboys. I don't. I literally don't look at the Rams defense a million miles from the Dallas Cowboys. I don't. And we didn't go scorched earth to get there, right? We got Trayvon Diggs, we got Parsons, and it's up in the air whether or not you keep DeMarcus Lawrence or what have you. And, of course, with Randy Gregory is up to the Cowboys organization to do what they need to do with that. But the Rams defense, let's be real, is not a million miles from us. And what I saw with this Dallas Cowboys defense from a collective metric, that they stepped it up halfway through the season. And I told everybody it takes time for defenses like the Dallas Cowboys to switch over. They was ranked 28th, 29th respectfully. I'm trying to put that number out there respectfully the year before. And then they got all the way down to 13. And then they bounced from 13 to 15, 13 to 15 majority of this year. And then it ended off, I believe, if I pull up this, let me pull it up again. Let me pull it up. Shout out to Ezekiel Elliott. Let me pull up the Dallas Cowboys. I think we finished the season at 12th ranked or something like that. It could have been 11th. But, and that's just overall metrics. Number 1 in offense, 15th in special teams. Defense, 12th. 12th in defense. Our efficiency level on the offensive side of the coin was our biggest booger bear. On our defense, I believe our interior pressure was one of the weakest points of this particular defense. But everything else, I believe we can capture off the edge. We got rangy corners. We had the situation with the safety, DeMonte Casey and Malik Hooker, those two guys, and, of course, J-Ron Kearse, who you're going to have to look at all three of those guys' contract to see who you're going to bring back out of the three. And I'm looking at J-Ron Kearse, you bring him back. But it's not that difficult. You don't have to go scorch earth.
But that's why I was curious if Cowboys fans are like, I get it, but for the last 27 years, we haven't gone anywhere. Or it's going to be 27 years. You haven't gone anywhere, so why not?
Well, so they pay their players.
They do.
That's the Cowboys, and Broadus will tell you this every single day. The Cowboys like to draft pay. Draft pay. Yeah. They don't like to go do this other thing.
But let me pause right here. The Cowboys, the biggest problem with the fact that they do play their players, which is good, which is cool. I like the fact that you pay your players. But they wait too long to pay their players. They do. I mean, you could have literally had Dak Prescott signed, locked, sealed, and delivered for $27 to maybe $28 million. You could have had him with the Jimmy Garoppolo contract. You could have had him with the first previous, I believe, right around the fact when Carr brother got paid or what have you, or Stafford when he first got paid. You could have went on ahead and paid the man. You wouldn't be talking about this. And we start talking about the money. You went 4.5 years, I believe, technically speaking. You went 5 years. But 4.5 years of cheap contract with Dak. The moment that if you want to hang money in front of him and dangle it around, you should have been willing and dealing. You should have allowed him to test the market. So there would be no question of a doubt about your quarterback. You should have said, okay, well, dang, on the free market, he gets this. But you waited too late. And you got to pay the man the market what he is willing to settle for, his agency. Now, with Tom Brady collecting $25 million for his last few years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that was a very noble thing. But he was on his way out. We can't look at this and say, well, this person is accepting this amount of money. But, dog, it wasn't Dak Prescott's first contract. Same could be said with Michael Gallup. This is not his. This will be his first contract. So he's going to look for the biggest paycheck. And then after that, then you can probably play around with it. But people get in their feelings with this money like it's coming out of their pocket. It's not. You guys wouldn't be watching this channel if you was multi-billionaires, right? I'm like, oh, man, this dude don't know what he's talking about. Let me get on. Let me keep on clicking,
And Stephen Jones will tell you, I don't want to pay a premium for a guy that I don't think is an A guy. But the thing is, they also don't feel like anybody is an A guy except for their guys.
Does that mean they also don't think that Sean Payton is an A guy? Because he retired for a year, my ass. I'll give you $25 million a year. Done. I'm really asking, does that mean that the Cowboys don't think he is a massive upgrade over McCarthy?
I think they do.
What? Why not?
I don't know why I think it's more of a, and this is still my theory here, Kevin.
What's your theory?
My theory is still Steven hired this guy, and Jerry said that he would do whatever it took to give him the opportunity. And I can't fire him just because the guy that I really want is now ready. Plus,
It's hard, baby. If that theory is solid, appreciate Corey and Kelvin, or Kevin and Corey from the KNC Masterpiece. Appreciate those boys. Good guys, by the way. Wonderful theory. But who out there know that you can only have one cook in the kitchen, too many cooks, too many chiefs, and it just muddies and sullies the water, because you might say a pinch of salt. No! Tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of salt. And you see how the wonderful, the brilliant billionaire Jerry Jones, he put salt all over his McGriddle. John Stephen Jones say, hey, man, I like jelly, honey on my McGriddle, man. I don't want no salt. But who's the daddy? We gonna shake that thing like a salt shaker over here. No, and okay, let's agree to disagree, Dan. All right, instead of jelly, we use jam, okay? And we put a pinch of salt on it, right? And it's gonna taste good. But that's the problem. And that's right, Zenith, Bull Sugar, he fired Jimmy for nothing. Well, Jimmy, look, we all love Jimmy, but Jimmy was flirting, right? And his contract was near end, and he was flirting with Jacksonville Jaguars, and he was Sully and Jerry in front of the media, in front of the football guys, right? They are laughing. And he still to this day laughs and scoffs at Jerry Jones. He do. Too many Chiefs, not enough Indians, Law. Yeah, appreciate you. Or too many chefs in the kitchen, Too many of them. Everybody's a chef now, Where the servers at? Nah, we don't have any. Well, I ain't finna go out there and deliver my food that I cook. That's how it is. Big egos, edging God out. Willie McClay don't even eat a McGriddle. Willie, Sugar Daddy won. Yeah. Coach Marv, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Coach Marv,
Again, if Sean Payton's really honest about, I need a year off to take a break, and you pay him $25 million and he's gassed, it's not going to matter. Like if he comes back and he's not fully invested in it, doesn't matter. But if he comes back after a year off and he's like, all right, let's rock this thing, then I'm a little more like, all right, that was good use of your time.
I think you're totally right about that. I guess I am of the opinion, don't know Sean Payton whatsoever or his motivations. I don't know if I entirely buy into that, seeing as how they don't have a quarterback and their cap situation is screwed. I'm of the opinion that he's like, hey, I need to take a year off because that's a mess, and I can't betray the city of New Orleans like that. Whereas this is where he coached here before. So, again, this is my scorched earth policy. Money is no issue. Go right now. Today. Go hire Sean Payton and Eric Bieniemy. Pay him a total of $33 million a year. That'll get them both over here. And if you don't like Eric Bieniemy because he doesn't call his own plays, well, guess what? He's not going to call his own plays now. Sean Payton's going to be calling those plays. But at least you have somebody in place that has shown that they have a good track record at offensive coordinator, regardless of what you think. If they think he's a massive upgrade, which makes me wonder if they think Sean Payton's an upgrade over Mike McCarthy, not that much of an upgrade.
Just they're the guy they want. He wants.
Sure.
Okay. You've made some very good points. You're good at that, by the way.
Thank you.
And it ain't happening. And then, of course, there'll be multiple lawsuits out there, too, because of the political arena around coaches and hiring and the interview processing. And they would say, okay, you trying to sham me for an interview when you only want Sean Payton. And y'all know how this goes, Cowboy Nation. It'll be, slap on the wrist for everyone else. But when the Cowboys do it now, oh, my goodness. Dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun. Where my music at? It'll be one of those situations. Whereas we established news tonight that the Dallas Cowboys will be losing 4 draft picks for sham interviewing a minority candidate for not going his way of hiring him. That will be the process there. And unfortunately, that's how this thing rock with the Dallas Cowboys as it relates to the political science of the thing, right? So I just believe this right here. Dog it, if Jerry Jones really wants Sean Payton and he really got all of the coins that we say he got, then call Mike McCarthy into your office, get on the horn. I think Sean Payton got a house in South Lake somewhere. Call him, send your helicopter out there to go pick him up, fly him in or what have you into your office there and say, hey, Mike McCarthy, I like you. Here's $40 million of hush money, and here's $30 million to Sean Payton. We're gonna have you as the head coach. We're gonna do this sham interview with a guy that we already paid him up front to circumvent the Rooney Rule, some hush money, so we can go ahead and have that interview out of the way. I think it can't be somebody within your same organization, so you can't pull Joe Witt Jr. You just go call somebody that you know that's not going to go out there and say, hey, man, this is a sham interview. You call him up, and you just do the little bootleg interview with him. You make it known that you're very interested in him, but you're not. And then you go ahead and you have Sean Payton as your head coach. You the billionaire. And you go ahead and roll with it instead of going through this whole season with that dark cloud hanging over the head of this organization and of your leader. And everybody is laughing and bickering and talking about you behind your back. Yeah, Coach, he talking all of that stuff. He going to be gone next year anyway. My contract say 5 years. Coach going to be gone next year. Screw him. I'm going to run my own play. I'm going to do my own thing. See how this thing work now? Y'all think that these players don't see that? They can see it. They can see it.
What do you want? Do you want to do this?
No. Because
you just laid out every scenario for why, but you don't want to do it.
Because I am in that group of the fan texters. Like, I see you, truckrack.com fan texters, and I'm with you. And we're all in the same group for different reasons.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, guess what? And that's the one thing. When you say it's the GMs that's not good enough, I'm not here to argue that with you. Never going to change. Like, just accept it. Never going to change. There's nothing you can do about it. Now, coach, you can do something about it. Quarterback, I also don't think they're going to do anything about it. Coach, that's why I go back to the coach time and again, because I think that's the only spot. But I'm with you. I don't think we have the group that can get the job done. And if you're going to go all in, you are going to screw this franchise over for years. Like the Rams, whenever they wrap this up, they're going to be in a lot of trouble for several years. The Saints, they're going to be in a lot of trouble theoretically for several years. The Cowboys could be in a lot of trouble with some of my scorched earth moves for several years. But if you win, who gives a damn? But I don't think that this group can win.
And, winning it all that one time might be the closest avenue to getting Jerry to say, okay, I'm done now. I finally got it.
I hadn't even considered that.
All right. It's been 5 years Sean McVay been with the Rams, and all 5 years he had winning seasons, all 5 of them. Sean McVay is not under the spotlight like there is over the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys been like in this volatile state with this organization for the last 6 or 7 years, or even 8, 10 years, you can say that. But with that volatile state, you can count on your hand, literally, how many times we had top 10 draft picks, right, available to us. What year was 2016, we had the availability with number 4th overall draft pick. And what other year? Oh, just last year, right at number 10. And the two times that we had those situations to draft early, baby, one of those draft picks was Ezekiel Elliott. One can say he's on pace for unbelievable numbers if he continue his pace. And I know he's not been that same dude since 2016, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? And then, of course, Parsons, right? So when we start collectively speaking, when we start looking at other teams saying, oh, look at that guy, look at that guy. Oh, look at that guy. You got to be terrible to get there. You don't. You got to lose a whole gang of games, right? And this organization just not been that type of organization. We have not been that type of organization to be in that state of winning only 4 games, winning only 3 games, winning only 2 games for a long stretch of a consistent scenario. We have not. Sam says, Zeke, Q Blake says, Q say, Blake, I think that's how you say your name. It says Ramsey or Zeke. Y'all know I'm biased when I go to that. You know, I'm always going to be team defense. You know how that goes. But shout out to Ezekiel Elliott for what he was able to do. And that philosophy, Ezekiel Elliott was drafted not for Dak Prescott. People fail to realize that. Ezekiel Elliott was drafted for your quarterback, a veteran quarterback at that time. Right? And they wanted to go back to the 2014 philosophy. But the quarterback got hurt. Flacco balled out that playoff year. This from Sam. Yeah. And he got paid on the back end. Remember? Flacco betted on himself, and he got paid on the back end. And the Jones family organization said, we got a young quarterback as well, and they paid him on the front end. The same amount of money that Flacco got paid. Look it up. Aaron can't win in the playoff. Yeah, at this point, Richmond, those are facts. The Rams said by any means necessary and walked home a Super Bowl. And it came down to the last drive. They risk it all to the last drive. Hear me out. Listen to what KNC, the masterpiece, had to say. And shout out to them. Be sure to click on that link there to listen to the full excerpt of that video. Dak haters must have lost their fantasy league because of Dak. I doubt it, because how the fantasy league worked, I believe his numbers, especially in certain games, would have made them win big time. Let's see. Mac 10 is going to get a ring before Dak. I feel you saying that, Dallas. I feel you saying that, Dallas. All right. Fantasy Dak is great. This is from Sam. All right, so this was what I talked about earlier this morning. We talked about the aspect of the Cowboys' $12 million over projected 2022 salary cap. And my guy, KD Drummond, he came up with a beautiful excerpt on this. Let me see if I can make it smaller for y'all. All right, so I can read it all on one screen here. Okay, that didn't work. It's all good. But we're going to look at the bullet points. Current salary cap situation. Of course, we eating $9.8 million of dead money between Jalen Smith and as well as with Gerald McCoy. You guys remember him. All right, so Dak Prescott, guaranteed restructured. We save about $15 million with Dak Prescott restructuring his contract, by the way. We save some money. With the aspects, and this is not factual yet, but they could reach into the stretching of salary cap money and restructure my guy Zach Martin, first team All-Pro Zach Martin, and it can save up to $7.2 million. Remember what I said about salary cap. It's only a myth. And a lot of people didn't understand what I was talking about this morning. All right, so also Ezekiel Elliott, potential restructurer. That can happen too. Now, when I say when you're kicking the can down the street, right, you eventually got to pick that can up because somebody's going to complain about Hey, you kicking that in my yard. Get that can out of my yard, right? Just using that as an analogy. But here's the thing. The salary cap, as you kick said can down the road, increases. All right, so you can save $9.1 million if you restructure Ezekiel Elliott, meaning that he will stay here longer. Who is all in favor of that? I need to know right now. Who all in favor of this? I Love Weed says I missed the 90s cap. 90s cap started in 93, I believe, 94. That's when the salary cap stuff started. Dak is actually a great for fantasy. Yeah, you're right, William. I see a lot of people say they're in favor of keeping Ezekiel Elliott, Thomas, Terrell, Just Blaze, Coach Newman, 17. Blake says no. Zeke, a Cowboy for life. This is from Bigelow. Keep Zeke the Freak. This is from Asmodeus. Okay. All right, so a lot of people in favor of keeping Ezekiel Elliott. Now, my thing is, just don't cut the man. If you really want to will and deal. But don't hold on to him and then just cut the man like you did with Jalen. Just don't do that. No. Don't do that. Left tackle Tyron Smith, potential restructured. We talked about this. You can save $8.2 million, by the way. That's a lot of money that you can save, and that's continuing to kick the can down the street. Now, Albert, was it? His name is at the tip of my tongue. Was it Andrew? Andrew or Albert? Andrew, last night, 40 years of age. Offensive tackle for the Rams. Tyron Smith, he's only 30. That dude's 10 years older, but low-key, believe it or not, this man can probably take a year and a half off, get his body together, right, and his mind together, and come back out to play another 5 to 6 years solid, But he's going to have to take some time off just to rejuvenate his body. He's young enough to do such, believe it or not. But you can save $8.2 million, and who's going to wait a whole year, right? That's another whole subject to talk about. All right, so the Amari Cooper exchange, this type of situation, potential trade or restructure. My thing is with this, you got to find a dancing partner, and 9 times out of 10, a team will look at Amari Cooper and say, man, if you're going to cut him anyway, why should I spend more money to trade for him? And I can just wait, and some of that burden will still be on you, opposed to us absorbing all of that burden. So people know, and people hear how you talk about other teams. Shout out to you, Jackie. Appreciate you. All right, big La'el Collins, right? If you restructure his, you can save up to $6 million. If you cut him before June 1st, if you cut him before June 1st, you'll save $10 million. You just eat the 8.7 next year, the following year. D-Law, $19 million if he's a June 1 release. Who all in favor of cutting DeMarcus Lawrence for $19 million? I'm reading. Make Collins a left guard. No doubt. He's worth it. Yeah, I feel you. Keep him. He can play right tackle. Still got to go. Got that handle. Yeah. Keep Law. Yeah. Who all in favor of me keep going? Rogers to Dallas. I feel you, little Dallas Cowboy. Shout out to everybody that's watching right now. I think I've been live too long. Appreciate everybody who supported this channel, though. Don't want to be live too long. Keep going. Okay. Let's see. All right, let's see. I think y'all ready for me to go. Let me see those hit those like buttons, man. Well, I can just get on up out of here. Let's see if we want to keep going or not. Keep going. Yeah. Yeah. Keep going, Law. We need more beards on the damn Cowboys. I feel you, man. Appreciate you. Thank you for the donation there. Appreciate you. All right, we can keep going. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Anthony Brown. There's an article by KD Drummond. He pulls up. Is the audio better now? It's a little bit louder. I increased the audio. All right, so Anthony Brown, you can save $5 million by cutting him or, pretty much releasing him. I'm with the belief that you figure out a way. To keep your resources on your team, build your defense up. Anthony Brown caught a crucial interception in that 49ers game. This was his best season so far, and it was his first season with Dan Quinn. Hopefully, with Anthony Brown going into his second year, he can be converted as the backup or what have you, and we see more of the Kelvin Joseph, the younger talent out there, and we build around that. But you never want to go into a situation where you cut your legs from up under your feet, especially how this defense been improving. But Brown, get down, stay around. All right, tight end Blake Jarwin, shout out to him. You save $4.25 million. It's not a lot of savings, but maybe you can move some things around. When we talk about, okay, well, what if you pair up Brown and Jarwin? You cut both of those guys. Now, the law, that's $10 million right there, give or take. Well, who we going to go out there and get? Shout out to your Nobles Royalty. Appreciate you. Always a great show. Thank you for your donation. Too Cool, appreciate you for joining. Appreciate you. And my Facebook grooves, I appreciate y'all for being part of this thing. Juan, Mooney, appreciate you, Sal. Appreciate you, Rick and Ken on the Facebook. Bobby, not Bobby, but appreciate you, Bobby, man. Sure, appreciate you. And Soul, appreciate you for jumping in. All right, so Greg Zerline, $2.5 million. You save that amount of money by cutting him. I just look at it like this, man. Keep the leg, let him compete, and I think we got Chris Nagar. You keep that and you compete, and then may the best man win without the political mindset. My guy Jordan Lewis, $2.3 million. That's like spitting in the ocean. You're not saving a lot of money, but I get it. And of course, Basham, you 1.75. I think that you keep these guys for the camp. You let these guys fly out to the ball, fight in camp. Whoever you draft, what happened with those guys, you make sure that those guys compete. And this is the list right here as far as the 22 free agent guys that we have out here, who we should bring back, who we shouldn't. That's the situation and a half of what we should do, and let's be real with it. You can't keep all of these guys. There will be some hard negotiations, but out of this list, your creme de la creme will be Randy Gregory, and of course, what the world you would do with Gallup. And I'm not going to put Schultz in as well as Connor Williams in that conversation. I think that you can shake the tree from the free agent tree and other guys in the free agents to see whether or not those guys you can bring in for a cup of coffee. Now, Gallup rehabbing his injury. Gallup did come out and said, hey, I would like to get paid what I deserve or what have you for the 4 years that I put in. I'm paraphrasing. Well, we'll find out what he get out there in the open market. But I believe in the hearts of hearts, he would take a team-friendly discount on a prove-it deal for 1 more year. Yeah. Get rid of penalty man Collins. This is from Bigfoot. Appreciate you. Yeah, I feel you on that. So that's how this thing goes with everything, Cowboy Nation. Appreciate y'all for jumping in this episode. Let me see what I can do here. I got 731. Appreciate you. Too cool. Appreciate you for joining the membership again. And thank you for your donation there. Give me 1 second here.
Call my phone, hit my line. Only ones who down for real, down for line. Keep it super thorough my way on this side. Keep it super thorough my way on this side. Call my
Get that line
phone,
up.
hit my line. Only ones who down for real, down for line. Keep it super thorough my way on this side. Keep it super thorough my way on this side.
Law would love Kyle Hamilton on this Cowboys. Dan Quinn would have a great package with Micah, J-Ron, and Kyle Hamilton out of Andy. We have to take a risk as well. I do like Kyle, his ability. He's a tall, linear guy, but he flies out to the ball, cover grass pretty well. I think that he's by far the best safety in his class. Sometimes we can evaluate safeties and we can look at it and say to ourselves, maybe, just maybe. But in this situation, we do have to build around Parsons, and Kyle Hamilton will be a centerpiece that we can also say, man, that would be nice. Nakobe Dean as well, or even big Jordan Davis. Go with BPA. Coach Marv, call in. Fall line for your mind. It's at the top of the screen. On my phone, Coach Marv.
Keep it super thorough my way on this side. Keep it super thorough my way on this side. Call my phone, hit my line. Only ones who down for real, down for life. Keep it super thorough my way on this side. Keep it super thorough my way on this side.
I think that's a whole lot better. my visual component was still going in and out. Appreciate you, too cool. Blake says Davis, 100%. Thomas, appreciate you. Lil Dallas, appreciate you. Can we stop playing in the draft and draft Jordan Davis? Jordan Davis would be a situation when you draft him, when you draft a big boy like that, that's a situation whereas you looking at not, how can I put this? You absolutely looking at a possibility to draft a guy that can influence others. I think that you're looking at a 2-down guy, but you're looking at an enforcer. One of our weakest components for the Dallas Cowboys been in the interior. Stopping the run, pushing the pocket back. We got flex guys on the edge. We even got Parsons that can shoot through the A or B gap like no other. But can you imagine that you got somebody that can really push things back to help this team out tremendously? I want Pollard and Rico Dowdle to get a lot of reps this season to keep Zeke fresh. This is from Jay Versick. That can only happen if you remove the politics side of the coin from the Cowboys, because I believe there's a lot of influences that's out there that really control everything. And I really appreciate you, Jay Versick. Appreciate you for the donation. Parsons will be free to roam. Yes. And what you can't do is, it's just like when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafted Vita Vea. It wasn't for Vita Vea to get 10 sacks. It was for him to free up everything else for everyone else. It was. Man, appreciate you, Tyreek, man. You the first one in here, man. What's good, man? Talk to me, man.
Hey, what's going on, Lord Nation? What's going on, Cowboy Nation? Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff.
Right, appreciate
Lord Nation, you know what I mean? My whole thing is like this, man. We just sat here and watched the Rams push all the chips to the table and go for theirs.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you look at the Cincinnati Bengals and how they was built, they kind of did the same thing a little bit. They went out and got free agents that matched what they wanted to do, and they drafted well. My thing is with the Cowboys is like, yo, man, we got to quit being scared to spend money, man. You know what I mean? That's the way of the league. You know what I mean? We can't keep living on this back in the 90s philosophy, like we just going to get all these great players, draft them all at once and make something happen. My whole thing is like this, man. They got to figure out some type of way to get some people up in here, some veterans up in here with some of these young pieces that we have, and try to keep some of the good pieces that we have, as far as Curse and stuff like that, people that make Micah better, and build around them. Like you said, we got to get this offensive line, this defensive line straightened out.
Let me ask you this, Tyreek. Tyreek, we've been in this salary cap crunch. It seems like for 20 years, man. Look, let me know if I'm wrong. We always been in salary cap crunch. Like, hey, we would like to go get this guy, but we don't have the money and the resources. And those sound like, hey, man, bookkeeping problems. Man, we need to go out there and get playmakers, somebody that can make a difference. When I watched the Rams, yes, Donald is good. But you seen that other guy, Robinson from Alabama? Hey, Sean Robinson, man, I'm sitting like, man, he folding people up like lawn chairs, man. He pushing things back and then around. And I tell people all the time, Tyreek, is that in the late quarters, like the fourth quarter, that's when your D-line, that's when your boys inside, that's when they eat.
Yeah. They had to go eat. They had to go hunting. And you know, you can see it in Aaron Donald's face. He's like, we going hunting. And then Miller went hunting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They went hunting. And my whole thing is like this. We don't – what kills me with the Cowboys is that we don't have players on that defense to go hunting. I think that we got certain players that like to go hunting
right.
As far as D-Law, and they undervalue what D-Law does. And I don't like that. And I don't like the fact that they undervalue what Coop does out there, because Coop makes us a lot better too. And I'm like, is we going back – is we breaking this team all the way down? And just saying, well, forget Mari Cooper, forget D-Law. We just going to go get some younger pieces and put on this team and get swaddled up next year, because I know our schedule got harder. So we got to bring it. If we plan on coming up out of this, if we plan on coming up out of the NFC East, because I don't care what nobody say. Philadelphia only like a couple good pieces away from going back to the playoffs, getting us up out of there. Even Washington. These teams are going to want to contend with us next year. So I don't want the Dallas Cowboys to go into it this season thinking that we just going to steamroll everybody like we did this past season. It ain't going to work like that, man. We're going to have harder games. So we need they need to really listen to Dan Quinn about his defense and how he want to put his defense together, and don't do it the Jones way, because the Jones way does not work.
Yeah,
it's not working, bro.
It's definitely not working. And the main thing what do not work ultimately, the coaching. You know, I know we can look at the players, but the coaching philosophy, man, we will have a good player that we be banging on the table for. Put him in the game. Put him in the game. And they refuse. Like, they didn't put Malik Hooker into the game, into the season, until the latter part of the season. It's hard to get in football. You know what I mean? Reps.
Yeah.
In the latter part of the season. Put him in earlier so that he can be playoff ready. Oh, when we flip over to the defensive, offensive side, there's nothing wrong with telling Ezekiel Elliott, man, we like what you bring to the table, but we need you fresh for the playoffs. Put Tony Pollard in earlier.
What? No, I got two more things and I'm out of here.
All right.
Why in the heck did we sit Tony Pollard down in week 17? You weren't going to use him in the playoffs. What the hell philosophy? Who came up with that?
That's still stretches. I'm still lost with that one.
Oh my! Hey man, the fans was throwing stuff at the ref and some of the players. They should have been throwing it at Kellen Moore behind coming up out of that game. He the one should have got doused. If anybody should have got that, should have been him. That's what I say, man. But my whole thing is this, and I'm up out of here. This is what I need Dak Prescott to elevate his game to.
Right.
Everybody knows Matthew Stafford played in Detroit, the hole in the wall, the land where people die.
Right.
And he got resurrected by Sean McVay and the Rams. Did you see what that man did at the end of that game? He threw 2 picks. He did not even blink. He stood tall and threw that touch. It was throwing them touchdowns, man.
Oh, he stood tall. He went to his number 1 target, Cooper Kupp, hit that fade ball. I said, yeah. And
he took advantage of it. He was like, I don't care if I got 3 people out there on that man. I'm throwing it to him. Take it.
Yeah.
And they couldn't take the ball about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to see with Dak Prescott. I want to see that dog. Like, I don't care. If you're going to take Cooper away, you're going to have to take him away. But I'm throwing the ball to him. You got to get it.
Dog, I'm going to him all day, you know. And it had Eli Apple on him. Dude. If you was running the route, I was like, hey, man, Tyreek, this is what we going to do. Fade ball. Eli going to tend to do something wrong, you know. And he's a good DB, by the way. But his tendencies.
What you do, love your energy and commitment to your
But
fans.
Isn't it funny?
Much love.
Isn't
keep
it funny?
For success.
All our cornerbacks and people that leave our team go to other people's teams and go to the Super Bowl. So and we call them bums. And they ain't doing this and they ain't doing that, but they go to the Super Bowl to go. Even though they lost, they got an interception though. They show up on the stat sheet.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? What? Yeah, damn, the whole Kansas City team got our defense on it some kind of way. But I'm just gonna put my hands up like I don't see it. But thank you, Law. Thank you, Nation. Hey man, shouts out to y'all, man. Let's build this thing. I'm tired of Jerry them running their mouth. Let's go get it, man.
No doubt, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, Tyreek, holding it down, man. Big donation, man. God, dog, toe coat. AI. Can you say that again? Can you repeat this, por favor?
Law, keep doing what you do. Love your energy and commitment to your fans. Much love. Keep striving for success.
That's right. I appreciate you striving, man. Look, I want the Cowboys to win ultimately, but I love talking to y'all beautiful people, and I do. I absolutely do. And this is what we do. We talk Cowboys football, rain, sleet, or snow. We give hard reasonings to love this team and hard reasonings to also despise and dislike this team, unfortunately. and we pull out things. This is raw. This is not scripted. I didn't wake up early in the morning and say, okay, let me draw down of what I'm going to talk about today about the Dallas Cowboys. I literally listened to the 105. I listened to 1310, the ticket. I listened to all of my compatriots that's in the YouTube community and the Facebook community. And I gathered together my thoughts and my independent feelings about this team, and I spit it out to all of you guys in a raw format. And I really appreciate each and every last one of you guys on this day, this Valentine's Day. And the Cowboys website, the official website on their Twitter and as well as Instagram and Facebook, they said new mindset, right? The mindset. They got a new mindset. For the new season, for the 2022 season. Everything starts today, what have you. It's all over. Everything starts today. Well, within the confines of that mindset, remember, write this one down. Write this one down. Everyone have a reason, but results are what matter. I'm looking for the results. Old folks, like my grandmother said, there's people in hell with good intentions. We may have the right intentions for everything, but we're looking for the results. We're looking for the outcome. The Cowboys 12-6 last season, 12-5 for the regular season. I ain't gonna count the preseason, what have you. But starting and heading into the 2022 season, 12-5 is the floor now, right? Expectations always increase. We can't lose more than 5 games. We can't. Keep Cooper. This is from Sky. Yeah, you got to keep Cooper. Figure it out. And another thing, Cooper Kupp on the Rams team. I hear a lot of people saying, hey, man, we would love to have Cooper Kupp. You got to utilize him, even if you had him. I'm not trying to do the comparison analysis, but last I checked, I don't think Cooper Kupp was a first-round draft pick. I think he went somewhere in the 3rd or the 4th round. You had your opportunity. You didn't like him, according to your scouting agency and scouting team. That's their product. That's their guy. We got our guys. Sugar Daddy, shout out to you, Law and Gucci. Yeah. Law Gucci, yeah, appreciate Gucci. Shout out to my guy Gucci Watts. Yeah, those videos take extreme amount of time to set up. They do, and meeting up with someone on the other side of the town in Dallas is hard to do, and especially putting in the hours of cutting in and editing those videos out. I appreciate those who are appreciative of watching those series there, but they take forever to create, and time is my enemy. I appreciate y'all for watching though. All right, phone line for your mind, 657-390-7391. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes. If anybody want to give me a call, give me a shout out now. Call the number, spit your mind. I respect everyone's opinion. Remember, those convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. So I'm not here to try to change your mind, right? I'm not here to try to change your thoughts. I just spit minds out. Yeah. Richmond says, but if the problem is our stars not getting the ball enough, wouldn't Schultz leaving help them solve that problem with the question mark? Well, that's a good point there, but I believe it's bigger than that. You see, when you run in a scheme, you'll say, hey, against this particular defense, I'm going to target Schultz regardless, because this is what the defense is declaring. So the problem is, collectively speaking, is that we just run a system and not a scheme. The system says there's no big I's and no little U's. And I'm quite sure that that system could work in a whole different other places, because when we look at it like this. The system generates number one total offense. It's a system burner, right? It's a generator. But it's not a certain scheme. You have to devise a scheme when you get into the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. 918, you're live.
Hey, what's up, Law?
Nothing to it. Talk to me. Who we got here on the line? Who we got?
It's the minister, man. What's going on with you, brother?
Not much, minister, man. What you have for this episode? Oh, you got your radio. Turn your radio down. Turn your radio down.
TV.
Yeah,
TV,
yeah. Oh, TV. That's all good. Turn it down, minister.
Big screen. I just did, my brother.
Yeah, what's good? What you got?
Hey, man, a couple of things, man. Want to just say, appreciate what you and all y'all guys, Boss Cowboy and all y'all guys, can't call all their names, love what y'all doing. That first thing I want to say. But, man, I went and looked at your tape that you spoke up on about the Kurt Warner thing, man. And that was a great analogy of he broke down the things. When I looked at that thing, man, it pointed out a lot of things of missed blocks, a lot of things he pointed out about Dak. And one thing that stood out for me is I'm a student of the game. I'm up in my 60s, almost in my 60s. So,
oh my God, that's a blessing, there, man.
The beautiful thing for me is that when he was talking about his hot route, and when I looked at been following Joe Burrow and his career and things like that, one thing that I noticed about that is that, because I know I don't have a whole bunch of time, but there's some things about, not saying I don't like that, but I think he gets a little bit too much hype because people don't want to really say that he's not really all the way there. But when I look at Burrow, what he did this year, and because to me, understand my opinion, their team is not no better than ours. Their offensive line is not no better than ours.
Right.
And
I'm listening.
Kurt Warner pointed out was beautiful because he talked in such a way that he was saying that if I was coaching him, this is what I was saying. He talked about the hot route. And there was a game early in the season when it was regarding CeeDee Lamb.
Right.
When he was saying about the hot route and staying with the hot route. That's the one thing that I looked at that he was saying that there's nothing wrong with a guy, if you're a great quarterback like Dak Prescott, you going out and say, hey, man, give me some help. Maybe, one of these veterans out there. You know what I'm saying? Spend your money wisely. Get somebody to kind of help you, show you maybe where you going wrong at. Because sometimes the coaches and the people you got around you and all that, they may not be really showing you really what you really want, really what you should be seeing or saying the things that you need to be saying. Because, man, God, the things, that tape right there, man, that was honest to God truth if you know anything about football. Because that was turning away from the hot route, and he never turned his head back to the hot route. And most of the time, the hot route was on the right or it was down the middle. And sometimes it was on the left. But once he turned away from the hot route, what Kurt Warner was showing that he turned his head too fast. And he never went back. So in the NFL, they talk about looking out for defense and get go back. But the one thing I've seen about Joe Burrow, the man is only in his second year, and I watched him a lot of his career when they showed him on TV. He stayed with the hot route from what Kurt Warner was saying. And then the other thing is about the front office, man. The Cowboy front office, man, is probably one of the worst that I've ever seen in my life. And you talking about having your family members in the office and keeping money, and them just saying, hey, you talking about the owner, president, and the general manager. If you know anything about business like I have, being a supervisor and manager of a major grocery store here in Oklahoma, but originally from the West Coast, man, the dude is getting 3 paychecks.
Right.
He's literally raking it in his own self, and he got all his kids working for him, And I know you seen that clip when they talked about Stephen Jones, when Mike Fisher said that when he talked about how they brought that man in, and pretty much Mike Fisher pretty much, because you know people ain't gonna say certain things when they on TV.
Right.
Pretty much said the man trained him in an area that he wanted. Then he said once he drained him dry, they just cut the man.
Who you talking about?
I can't call the guy's name, but he used to work for the Cowboy organization. But they brought him in to train Stephen Jones, because Stephen Jones wasn't. I don't know all about his life, but I'm just saying some stuff that Mike Fisher said.
Oh, he's saying like
right.
they brought somebody in to train him business philosophy. Okay.
What's he doing now? Because he didn't know nothing about that.
Yeah, I mean that's a family-run business, man. It's hard to fire.
Exactly.
It's hard to fire your brother and sister, but it's for dog sure to fire your dad. You know what I'm saying? Or if your dad is in control, it's hard to fire your son. So it's one of those things where it's, especially if you think about it, the Cowboys in the last 20 years or what have you, they are right up there as one of the most winningest teams in the NFL, believe it or not. It's just that they don't do anything in the playoffs when they get there, and that's the problem. That is the very big problem.
Would you agree with me when I say, would you agree with me if I say, what good is it going to do a team to win in a regular season, but when you get to the playoffs, you don't do nothing?
I agree. It's like, yeah.
Hey, I come from the late generation.
Yeah.
I don't come from this make my coffee right now or go to McDonald's right now. I come from a generation, man, where, you know what, we want to go home and cook us a nice hot meal. We want to do it ourselves.
But one thing I want you to do is the minister is when you go back and you watch Kurt Warner's film breakdown and film assessment, go and watch the Aaron Rodgers one too. Watch the Aaron Rodgers one against the 49ers, and you'll see that he's literally saying the same thing. There's open receivers. Aaron Rodgers should have checked to his height or what have you. These quarterbacks miss a lot of reads.
That, but I didn't look at that whole thing, but I looked at a little of that, but not the whole thing. But I was really just pointing out that I feel like the main part for me is that he was saying about stand with. You know, basically for me is what I'm saying, because I'm a student of the game.
Right.
You know, I study the game. I ain't never played on the professional level, but I played football a lot of years. Love it, still love it. Hey, I'm going on 6 years old, brother, and I still play video games and all that.
No doubt, Minister.
I still love football, man. It ain't, my love for the game has never left me, not even a little bit, but I know how to put priorities first. But what I'm saying is that the things that he pointed out, he was saying about figuring out your reads before the play starts, and then knowing where you should go with the football.
Well, let me show you this. Let me show y'all this on here. It's the fourth quarter with a couple of minutes left on the clock. You got Joe Burrow. I got his. You talking about progression, pre-snap read.
Okay.
If you can see on your TV screen, on your big screen TV, where should Joe go with this ball? Where should Joe go with that ball? Where should Joe go with this ball? 2nd and 1.
Well, for me,
what defense they playing?
Well, for me, I mean, they're in a regular 4-man blitz, which they've been at all the time.
So who should be as hot?
You know what I'm saying? So, well, you know how NFL players work. How NFL teams work. They can switch up or whatever. But for me, if you're going to throw right here, you got to have somebody on a quick slant. It can't be, this guy where he got this one guy in his face. For me, you got to, if you're going to, where he went to this guy, I guess it's to my right, where he tried to go, he could have easily went there and, threw it there real quick when he had to make the quick throw. You know, he couldn't sit there and look off and hesitate like he did because the man is giving him like 10 yards. You know,
This is the final play for the Super Bowl, man. This is for all of the marbles. This.
Right. You know, he could have went to the other two guys. I mean, they only got a few yards.
They gave him the underneath. He couldn't play. He couldn't. When you reading this, and I'm not saying I'm not getting paid multi-million-dollars, but what I'm saying is, if this was Dak Prescott, they will be talking about this from here to the year 2040. About Dak Prescott can't read defense. And this is one of the better of the youngest talent of arm that I ever seen out of Joe Cole. He got to throw this one. He got to hit this receiver, get the first down, and they may live another day.
You know, timing. I mean, that's one of the things that what really showed me and helped me to where Kurt Warner was saying, and Kurt Warner was saying timing, quickness, because that's one of the things about Tom Brady that I see in his game. That he's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, he doesn't have the strongest arm, but man, the man gets the ball out of his hand very quickly. And Troy Aikman said it before, if you give a guy that much yardage off the line of scrimmage, you know,
you gotta hit that one.
Right side.
Yeah,
and that's the easy pick and catch, man. Catch and throw it, because the man is 10 yards off the line of scrimmage right there. If you don't throw it right there, man, what else is you looking at?
Right.
And I'm not saying he's better than that. I'm not saying that.
Oh, no. I get what you're saying, but I'm talking about. But Minister, I really appreciate you, man. I got one more call, man, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But I appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Hey, man, look, man.
Huh?
I'm just saying, man. You know what I'm saying, that honestly, Jerry Jones needs to just, if he learned how to get out of it, we'll be a hell of a lot better off.
No doubt, man. But I really appreciate you, man.
Step off the porch.
No doubt. Appreciate you.
Back in the day, get off the porch.
Yes, indeed, man. That's the minister right there. Appreciate him from the 918. All right, so we got the 512, man. You've been waiting patiently, man. Talk to me.
What's up, Law?
Nothing
How's
to
it
it.
going, man?
Everything is well. All is well.
That's good. My name's Richard. I'm from the Austin area, but I've been following you for a little bit.
Appreciate
about
it.
a year now. I like your content, dude.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, of course. But one thing that it's so funny that the video that the Cowboys put out is this new mindset.
Right.
I found that a little bit ironic. Because it seems like when people get the star on their helmet, it's kind of like what Chidobe Awuzie said, comparing the Bengals to the Cowboys. People get the star on their helmet and then they think that they're something.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that. And so it's this mindset, like, do they not run these guys enough? Like what is it? I personally don't understand when you have talent like this, like we had this past season, just stacked up, and then you go out and you do what the Cowboys do or have done for the past 26 years and just losing the playoffs. And so for me, it's an attitude. You said you watched the Micah Parsons podcast with Irvin, right?
Right.
And what did Irvin say at the end of that? He came in at the end and he said, it's your will versus my will. You're not going to beat me. I'm going to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of the day, I think that's really just what it comes down to is how bad do you want it? Like Aaron Donald went out there, he made the last two plays of the game and he won the game for him.
He did.
Because he wanted it more than them. And so, for me, I think that that's a big part of it. Obviously, there's some things that we need to fix. By the way, you can go win with Dak. People don't – I truly do believe you can go win with Dak. I think hiring John Kitna would be nice. Bringing him back, that would be great. But you can win with Dak. in my personal opinion, offensive line is the number one need that needs to be faced. It's just rebuilding that back up, because this game is, it's the you win in the trenches. It's won and lost in the trenches, plain and simple. And our defensive line, I think, is good enough to win. Obviously, take the best player available. But this draft's going to be weird with how I think they have 11 first-round grades, and then the rest are, second and third rounders. And so it's going to be an interesting draft. But, if I'm the Cowboys, I do what you've been doing, which is drafting great players in the draft.
Right. You don't go scorch earth, burn. You don't burn the earth down and say, okay, yeah, we're gonna try to replicate what the Rams were doing. And that's my whole thought track is, just 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, Matthew Stafford was considered the version of Dak Prescott, right? A guy that can't get it done, a guy that got all of these stats, got a good arm. I think he had one of the better arms in the NFL, but it had poor decision making. And even in his playoff game, the Super Bowl game, he threw 2 interceptions. But when you put a team around him, you can listen to the announcers saying they got to establish the run, they got to make things comfortable for Matthew Stafford, and he got guys too that they got a scheme and plan, right? And I believe that their coaching staff is a little bit more hold these guys a little bit more accountable. And I'm not saying that the Cowboys organization don't have that coach on their staff, but I just don't see it. And seeing is believing in this particular business. And we just don't see, like Dak Prescott, really, to me, you can't baby him. You got to always stay on him. I believe like that whole little dance move that he had got going on in 2019 that caught fire, or 2018, whatever year it was. I believe that was necessary. That was from coaching. Somebody was saying that, hey, you throw more with your legs than your arm. Get those lower body extremities together. Can't have sloppy feet. And I think that through the course of the year, he dissipated from that. And when he came out on Rich Eisen's show, or I believe it was one of those guys' shows, and he said that, hey, a lot of people were giving me longer excuses than what I was granted for, right? Meaning that we was painting more excuses for him, which was allowed. And he literally said out of his mouth, I played terrible. I played sloppy. It was me. I played bad. Well, we need a coach to correct that on the job.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I mean, Kellen Moore just doing what Kellen Moore does. He's a Boise guy. So what is he going to do whenever things are kind of going against it? He's gonna throw the ball when you need to be running it. I mean, the run was working against San Francisco, and they just went against it, and they kept trying to throw the ball when I just don't understand what happened to the slant route. Like what happened to just taking what the defense gives you? Just like you were talking about with the last caller. Where does Joe Burrow go with this Ball? He goes in the flat. He runs 3 yards and he turns around. First down. Keep it moving. And the way that the defenses were running, that's why they were only rushing 4, and they're dropping everyone into coverage, because just like the Bengals, they kept saying throughout the whole game, they need the big play to win, right? Now, you actually saw Joe Burrow go down the field methodically and score. You saw that. But they don't think that Dak can do the same thing, when I believe that he can. Just go run the ball for about 4 yards. Show them that they're going to have to keep a spy on you, or else you're going to get 4 yards, 6 yards, 8, with your feet. Now, I think you saw it as well as I did, that when he came back after that ankle injury, he was a little hesitant to run the ball, himself, and I get it. He's a $40 million man now. I get it, trying to save your money and not get hurt and all those things in the back of your head. But at the same time, if you play scared, you will get hurt. It's all about just going your hardest, going your fullest, and not letting anyone beat you. Everyone forgets the 2016 season. Dak, he took us there. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not like a huge Dak guy, but I do think you can win with him. I truly do believe that. And so, and how did he do it? He ran with his legs a lot in that 2016 season. Whenever we went, I think it was like 14 games, 13 games, or whatever. But Dak can get it done. So people who hate on him, I don't think it's I don't think that they know the game of football.
Well, I just look at it as a collective, and I've been living long enough. I've seen Trent Difford, I've seen Joe Flacco, Eli Manning. I saw multiple Nick Foles win a Super Bowl. Multiple guys that I know that Dak Prescott is better than those guys win Super Bowls. So it just takes a complete team. And one of the things, it takes a scheme. You got to scheme this thing up. And I just hope that Kellen Moore, I'm not finna throw him out with the bathwater, baby out with the bathwater. But we stuck with him this year, so introduce a scheme.
Yeah. I mean, I like Kellen Moore, but, I'm an old school type of guy. I like, what did Jimmy say? You the way you win football is you run the ball and you win defense and you play defense. And that's I think portrayed perfectly with the 49ers going to the NFC Championship game. What did they do? They played good defense and they ran the football. And so everyone's saying, this game doesn't change. It changes the way that it's played. Who's playing the game, who's coaching the game, but the game still doesn't change. Vince Lombardi could come in here and take his team to a championship because he knows how to do that if he were still alive.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things is that you run the ball, but when Kellen gets scared, he doesn't want to do that, and he goes back to his when he's under the pressure, what does he like to do? He likes to throw the football. Whenever you need to run it, 3 yard. I had a coach, a personal trainer. He was in the military, and he coached in the military. And he said that he would just run the power I, and he'd run it for 3 yards a play, every play. You get 3 yards on 4 plays. That's 12 yards. That's a first down, right? That's all you need to do,
right?
And it's true, So if people could go and make the game more exciting for people, I get the business side of it. I totally understand that. They want to see high scores and all that type of stuff. But what's going to bring in more viewers than anything? A Super Bowl win.
No doubt.
So you go out there and you win the Super Bowl, playing the West Coast offense, I promise you no one's going to complain about it.
No doubt, man. But I appreciate you, man, calling in from the 512, man. Hey, it was a pleasure talking to you. Appreciate you. Yeah, a good call from him, man. Appreciate everybody who called in. It's been a wonderful time. I think starting 5, appreciate you. I think we are still putting some of the blame on Dak Prescott, right? I'm not saying that Dak Prescott is perfect by no stretch of my imagination that Dak Prescott can walk on water. He got a lot of things that he have to do better at, right? But just like you saying right now, starting 5, there's somebody, there's a starting 5. I promise you, there's a starting 5 somewhere in Detroit land saying, hey, they putting the blame on everybody but Matthew Stafford. Oh my goodness. Everybody getting the blame, but it's the organization. It's the lack of running. It's this, it's that. Right? I guarantee you there was people leaping and jumping for joy that Matthew Stafford went away from Detroit land. There are. Just go to the Detroit Law Nation page, and you will find somebody saying, 5 years ago or 3 years ago, Matthew Stafford, he sucks. He chokes. He's a choke Stafford, right? But the moment he goes to another team, right? The same could be said about Cheeto Awuzie, right? They stopped attacking Cheeto. They started attacking Eli Apple. You saw that. So the blame goes all the way around. It's been spread all the way around. Dak Prescott got to improve on some things as well heading into this 2022 season if he wants to win a Super Bowl. It's got to be a situation whereas Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, Amari Cooper, if they're going to keep him, and, of course, CeeDee Lamb. He can't be dropping the ball, right? There's a lot of things that we got to put it on. Still blaming everybody but Jerry. This is from Delhi. Yeah. Look, there's, believe it or not, there are some Jerry Jones apologists, and they will literally bang on the table and say, Law, you're wrong. Jerry is not the problem. He don't make the plays. He don't go out there and run the routes or what have you, which is a valid point, right? But the person that been here for the last 27 years is none of the players. None of them. And you can't argue that. Jerry Jones and John Stephen Jones been here for the 27 years, right? So at some point, he can't continue to hide behind the players and the coaching. At some point, you got to point the finger at himself. That's just what it is. We said the same about Romo. I kid you guys not. I've been banging on the table, and the next time my brother jump on the episode, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the Tony Romo, because I used to have a big old Tony Romo poster. I used to get into pretty much straight up arguments that Tony Romo is better than Drew Brees. I know y'all gonna hear me. I know I can hear people yelling now. Nah, Lord, you crazy. Drew Brees would walk circles around. I was to the point of saying that Tony Romo, hear me out, and y'all can call me delusional, FBI, open up! I was to the point I was saying, look, man, I literally set out a case and said, if you just pick Tony Romo up and you put him in on the Colts, and you put Peyton Manning over here with our organization with the same infrastructure, Tony Romo would be viewed like Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning would be viewed like Eli or Tony Romo, because remember, Peyton Manning got injured a lot too. But Peyton was birthed with Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, right? No contract disputes with that. He had started off with Marshall Faulk. For Marshall Faulk, had the dude at the tip of my tongue, Adrian James, solidified offensive line, But nobody won't hear me with that. I had to call my brother up, who used to laugh all the time my team lost or what have you. But it is what it is, Cowboy Nation. It is what it is. People would have been looking at the coach like, man, that coach number 9 over there, man, he's a legend over there. Yeah. But it is what it is, man. That's water under the bridge. Tony is undefeated, announcing the game. Candace Romo don't have to rub his back, his shoulders, anymore. Rivers Romo, he can see his dad when he come home without bruise and abuse of losing the game, right? But the Cowboys got to figure this thing out. They do, and they absolutely do, Cowboy Nation. And that is with the philosophy of 12-5 is our floor now, right? That's just our floor. We got to get beyond that. We heading into this season with a new mindset, hopefully. They say that you don't mix new wine with old wine, expecting better results. We doing that right now. New philosophy, same coaches. Hopefully the new players that we pull up and bring up will be a whole lot better than what we exhibit and seen for the 2021 season. When you're up against the struggles, meet it squarely, face to face. Lift your chin, set your shoulders, plant your feet, and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge it, they say do the best that you can do. Listen here, black may be the clouds about you, and your future may seem grim, but don't let your nerve desert you. Keep yourself in fighting trim. If worse is bound to happen in spite of all that you do, remember this, write this down. Running from it will not save you. You got to see this thing through, Dallas Cowboys. The media hate you. They despise you. They jealous of you. And we have not won in over 25 years. Over 25 years, by the way. That's a long time. But you got to see this thing all the way through. You do. Even hope may seem but futile. Then with trouble may be beset. Remember, Cowboy Nation, we face what other legends have met. Keep your eyes straight, head high. Continue to fight and grind and see this thing through. You do got to do this thing. Terrence was saying he was in the 8th grade the last time they won something. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. That's been my time. I really really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go. We up out of here. Yep.
Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she ice. Freeze, photo, please, no photos. Jeez, no, please, no photos. Hit the door and the domain just whole team here, might need some. Still young, but I move like a new deal to my lawyer. If you're down in my management, I'm just
go, nation.
Old producers saw the numbers one. Different colors in my baggy light. Chalk it up.
Shout out to you, JP.
Wanna get you a
shout out to you, Michael.
Wanna get you new things with your pockets dull.
Shout out to you, I love. We appreciate you. God bless you too, Robert. Shout out to you. Well, on the Facebook. Come on. Shout out to you, DA's call.
I get paid to stay away.
Yeah.
I get paid on rainy days. I might make it rain today. I got paid on
Say out of the nights that cover me, black as a pit from
in my own lane, finger roll. I will never sell my only soul.
I thank God for my unconquerable soul. Come
on. On the market for the low. Who the realest we might never know.
Happy birthday
you go play a role.
to all.
The world when they sign you up. Try you out and then they line you up. Ooh, now you're looking hungry, ribs are touching, need some food. Now you're all on live like this, surprised, but you was fool.
Shout out to y'all. Sheila Neal, happy B-Day to you.
Now you're old news. Now you got the pen and pad, you're trying to take my moves. Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she freeze, photo.
Let's go, Cowboy Nation. We up out of here. Here we go. Yeah.
Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she freeze.
Shout out to Macomb, Mississippi. Boy, they Macomb. In Brookhaven. Woo! What you know about Macomb and Brookhaven? Yeah. Some real ones down there. Come on. But shout out to Natchez NTZ. Come on, baby. Shout out to all of the Mississippi roots. Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and Texas.
Take a drag of my cigarette. Breathe me out, breathe you in.
Catfish cookie.
Yeah. Take a bite of my burger, babe. Save the last bite for you.
And
don't let the street lights.
come on, Jerry. Open that wallet up, baby.
You know it's dangerous to go alone. Don't let the street lights hit you. Can I be your player too? I'll follow wherever you go.
Shout out to you, Troy. You have a good one. Shout out to y'all.
And another one.
And another one.
And another one.
Come on.
Fighting you was the one I lost. 7 wonders all in one. All in one. Don't let the street lights hit you all alone.
Shout out to Bolton, Mississippi.
You know it's dangerous to go alone. Don't let the street lights hit you.
Chicken and dumplings.
Play it too. I'll follow wherever you go, whatever you do. Play it too. doesn't feel that far. So far, so far. If a paper crane can fly, then forever doesn't feel that far. So far, so far. If a paper crane can fly, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on.
If you watched all the way up to this point and you have not hit that like, shared, or subscribed, and you still here,
shame, shame, shame.
And if you don't like Law Nation, come on, man.
Shame, shame, shame.
And if you think the Cowboys not going to the playoff again next season, come on now.
You must be out of your goddamn mind. Shame.
We still going to the playoffs,
Shame.
baby. We just got to win from.
Shame.
Just got to win some, baby. DC for life. Happy V-Day.